Atlanta is buzzing like never before, and fans are left clutching their pearls because tonight's drama is not just another love and hip-hop rumor, it's a battlefield moment nobody saw coming. Rasheeda, the queen of composure who has held her head high through scandal after scandal, finally reached her breaking point. And at the center of it all, Jasmine Washington, the woman who has haunted Rasheeda's marriage for years. What began as whispers online turned into an explosive confrontation in front of flashing cameras, stunned friends, and fans who could not believe what they were witnessing. The stakes, higher than ever. The emotions, off the charts. The fallout, unimaginable. It started with a tense event in downtown Atlanta, where both women arrived separately, unaware or maybe fully aware that their paths would collide. Rasheeda, in her signature chic style, determined to send a message without speaking a word. Jasmine, bold and unapologetic, walked in like she owned the room. The energy shifted instantly. Witnesses say you could feel the tension in the air, like static before a thunderstorm. They locked eyes, one insider revealed, and you just knew something was about to explode. Then, in a twist no one expected, Kirk Frost found himself dragged into the fire, literally standing between his wife and his former mistress as tempers erupted. Fans screamed in disbelief when Rasheeda's voice cracked with years of bottled pain, and Jasmine's sharp words cut through the air like daggers. People were on their phones live streaming, others trying to pull the women apart. But nothing could stop the showdown that had been building for years. This wasn't just an argument, it was a face-off of loyalty versus betrayal, respect versus disrespect, and love versus revenge. And make no mistake, the entire city is talking. Emotions ran high, the family was left divided, and Kirk has nowhere left to hide. Stay tuned, because this is just the beginning of Rasheeda versus Jasmine, the face-off fans thought would never happen. Under the glowing Atlanta lights, the air was heavy with tension and whispers of betrayal as Rasheeda made her entrance into the upscale lounge where the city's elite had gathered for a charity event. She walked in with her chin high, her outfit a statement of both elegance and power. But beneath her carefully curated image there was a storm brewing. Everyone in the room knew why her presence tonight mattered. The rumors had been circulating for weeks, and tonight was the night truth was about to collide with confrontation. Jasmine Washington was already there, seated at a corner table, sipping her drink as though she owned the night. Her confidence was magnetic, but her very existence in that room was enough to ignite the flame Rasheeda had tried to keep buried for years. The whispers grew louder as the two women finally locked eyes. One insider described the moment as electric, like lightning striking in the middle of the room. Fans were stunned, guests froze in their seats, and the cameras of eager onlookers started recording instantly. Kirk Frost, caught between the two women who defined his most controversial chapters, shifted uncomfortably, knowing he couldn't escape what was about to unfold. He muttered under his breath, "Lord, not tonight," but the storm had already begun. Rasheeda took slow, deliberate steps toward Jasmine's table, the sound of her heels echoing like a drum roll. Jasmine smirked, leaning back, as though daring Rasheeda to make the first move. "So you finally showed up," Jasmine said, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "I was beginning to think you'd keep hiding behind that perfect image of yours." Rasheeda's eyes burned with controlled fury. "Hiding? The only one who's been hiding is you. Hiding behind lies, behind drama, behind a child you used to manipulate my marriage. But I'm done letting you run your mouth without consequences." The crowd gasped. It wasn't often Rasheeda snapped publicly, but tonight her voice carried years of hurt and frustration. Jasmine laughed, a sharp mocking sound that cut through the air. "Oh please, you think everyone doesn't already know? Kirk wasn't faithful, and you stayed anyway. You call that strength. I call it weakness. And don't you dare blame me for the choices your husband made." Kirk tried to step in, raising his hands in a pleading gesture. "Ladies, please, can we not do this here? This ain't the time or the place." But Rasheeda turned to him, her voice rising. "No, Kirk, this is exactly the place. You've had me out here looking like a fool for years while she parades around acting like she's the victim. You let this happen. You created this mess. And now, you're gonna stand here and hear every word." Jasmine's smile faded slightly, sensing the rage behind Rasheeda's words. But she refused to back down. "Don't blame me because you couldn't keep your man in check. He chose me, Rasheeda, and whether you like it or not, I will always be part of his story, of your story." Emotions ran high as gasps echoed through the lounge. Some guests pulled out their phones to capture every second, while others shook their heads in disbelief. Rasheeda's voice cracked, raw with the pain she had carried. "Part of his story, Jasmine. You ruined lives. You ruined a family. Do you even care what you've done to my children? To my marriage? To me?" For the first time, Jasmine's expression faltered, her eyes flickered with something guilt maybe, or just discomfort under the weight of Rasheeda's words, but she quickly covered it with defiance. Don't pretend like your marriage was perfect before me. Kirk's been out here doing dirt for years, and you stayed every time. So don't stand here and act like I'm the only problem. Maybe the problem is you, holding on to something that was broken a long time ago. The words hit Rasheeda like a punch, but instead of crumbling, she straightened her shoulders. You think you know me? You think you know what I've been through? Let me tell you something, Jasmine. I've fought for everything I have. I've fought for my business, my family, my sanity. I stayed because I believed in something bigger than mistakes. I stayed because my family mattered. But you never cared about anything but yourself. Kirk rubbed his forehead, the weight of years of lies pressing down on him. Stop it, both of you. This ain't gonna solve nothing. We need to take this outside before it gets uglier. But Jasmine stood abruptly, her chair screeching across the floor. No, Kirk. This is exactly where it needs to happen. Everyone needs to see the truth. They need to see that your so-called perfect wife isn't as untouchable as she pretends to be. Rasheeda's hands trembled, not from fear, but from years of pent-up anger ready to spill over. Her voice dropped to a near whisper, but the entire room went silent to hear her. You want the truth, Jasmine? The truth is, you'll never replace me. No matter how many headlines you chase, no matter how many times you try to drag me down, you'll never have what I built. And deep down, you know it. The crowd erupted, half gasping, half cheering. Fans online later described it as the moment Rasheeda reclaimed her power, her voice trembling but her words sharp as glass. Jasmine's face hardened, but the flicker of insecurity behind her eyes was undeniable. Before anyone could intervene, Rasheeda stepped closer, her voice breaking but steady. You broke something, Jasmine, but you'll never win. Not against me, not against my family, not against the truth. And just as the words left her lips, the cameras of fans recorded Kirk standing frozen between two worlds, one defined by loyalty, the other by betrayal. The night had only just begun, but the explosive showdown had already left the city divided, emotions boiling, and fans desperate to know what would happen next. Under the neon glow of downtown Atlanta, the city pulsed with energy and whispers of scandal that could no longer be contained. The night was heavy with expectation because the face-off everyone thought would never happen was unfolding in real time. Rasheeda Frost, the woman fans had admired for years for her poise and unshakable strength, was finally done with silence. Jasmine Washington, the name that had shadowed her marriage, like a ghost, was right there in front of her, and the tension between them could slice the air. Kirk Frost stood trapped between his past and his present, his guilt written all over his face, but he had no idea just how far this night was about to go. Rasheeda's heels clicked against the polished floor as she walked toward Jasmine, her every step echoing like a countdown to detonation. The room was packed with celebrities, influencers, and ordinary fans who had somehow scored entry to the exclusive event, but all chatter died as the women locked eyes. Jasmine smirked, swirling her glass as if daring Rasheeda to bring the storm. Took you long enough, she said with venomous sweetness. Rasheeda's lips curled into a cold half-smile. Oh, trust me, I've been waiting for this moment. No cameras, no excuses, just you, me, and the truth. The crowd leaned in, phones raised, hearts. The truth. The crowd leaned in, phones raised, hearts racing. Kirk raised his hand weakly. Ladies, let's not do this here, please. We got an image to protect. But the words fell flat. Image. Rasheeda snapped, her voice sharp as broken glass. You think I care about image after everything you put me through, Kirk? I was out here fighting for my marriage, for our kids, while you were busy entertaining lies and betrayal. This woman sat at my table, smiled in my face, while sneaking behind my back. Tonight that ends. Jasmine slammed her glass down, the sound shattering through the silence. Stop acting like you're the saint in this story, Rasheeda. Kirk came to me. Kirk wanted me. You're mad because I gave him what he wasn't getting at home. The crowd erupted in gasps, some shouting encouragement, others booing. The live streams blew up with comments flooding in faster than anyone could keep up. Oh my God, Rasheeda snapping. Jasmine to bold, she wild for this. Kirk standing there like a fool, lol. Rasheeda's voice cracked, but her words carried the weight of years of pain. You think you won, Jasmine? You think breaking up families makes you powerful? Let me tell you something. Power isn't stealing another woman's husband. Power is standing here still strong, still respected, still unbroken, after everything you tried to do to me. Kirk ran his hands over his face, whispering God help me, as if the ground might swallow him whole. But Jasmine refused to yield. She stood up fully now, her chin high, her eyes blazing. Don't you dare lecture me like I'm some side piece you can dismiss. I had his child. That makes me part of this family, whether you like it or not. And if you think you can erase me, you better think again. The room froze. Rasheeda's hands trembled, her jaw clenched. Family? You call yourself family? You tried to build a kingdom out of lies. My children had to cry themselves to sleep because of your choices. My son had to hear his friends whispering about his father on the playground. And you sit here talking about family? No, Jasmine, you're nothing but a shadow clinging to the mistakes of a weak man. Kirk tried again, his voice shaking. Rasheeda, please, let's not drag the kids into this. We can work this out behind closed doors. Rasheeda turned on him with fire in her eyes. Behind closed doors. That's exactly how you let this happen, Kirk. Sneaking behind doors, whispering lies, covering tracks. Well, tonight the doors are open and everyone's going to hear the truth. The energy shifted, the crowd pressed closer, security hesitated, unsure if they should step in. But something darker was rising. Jasmine leaned forward, her voice a low hiss. Truth. You want truth, Rasheeda? How about the truth that Kirk told me he was done with you? That he said he felt trapped. That he said you cared more about your businesses than your marriage. That's the real truth. Gasps echoed like thunder. Kirk's face went pale. I never said it like that, he stammered. Rasheeda's eyes glistened, but her anger cut deeper than her tears. So you said it. Maybe not like that, but you said it, Kirk. You told her things you never told me. After all the years, all the sacrifices, all the loyalty, that's how little I meant to you. Jasmine smirked cruelly. Guess the perfect marriage ain't so perfect after all. The lounge was chaos, people shouting, security trying to calm the storm, but the fire only grew. Rasheeda stepped closer, now face to face with Jasmine, their breaths colliding in the heated air. Let me make one thing clear, Rasheeda growled. You will never replace me. Not in his life, not in this city, not in this legacy I built. You are nothing but a scandal that people will forget. But me, I am forever. The words struck Jasmine like a slap, and for the first time her mask cracked. Her lips trembled, though she tried to hold her ground. We'll see about that, she whispered. But before anyone could react, a voice from the back shouted, this ain't over, and chaos exploded. Friends of both women surged forward, pulling them apart, shouting accusations, fueling the fire. Someone screamed that Kirk owed Jasmine money. Another claimed Rasheeda had her own secrets buried. The entire event turned into a battlefield of words, tears, and broken alliances. Outside, paparazzi swarmed, snapping photos as Rasheeda stormed out, tears streaking her face but her spine straight as steel. Jasmine followed moments later, her entourage shielding her as she yelled, this story isn't finished. Kirk stumbled out behind them, looking utterly broken as reporters screamed questions. Atlanta streets buzzed with the scandal overnight. Social media lit up hashtags. Trending worldwide, hashtag RASHEEDAVs. Jasmine, hashtag Kirk exposed, hashtag family divided. Fans debated fiercely, some siding with Rasheeda, praising her strength, others defending Jasmine's boldness, and many dragging Kirk for his endless betrayals. The next morning, gossip blogs exploded with headlines. Insiders leaked that Rasheeda had packed her bags and left the house. Others claimed Jasmine was threatening to release private messages that could destroy Kirk's reputation once and for all. Kirk himself went silent, his phone off his face, nowhere to be seen. Friends like Carly Red and Candy Burris chimed in on live streams, each giving their own take, stirring the pot even more. I told y'all this day was coming, Carly said dramatically. You can't play to women like that forever without something blowing up. Candy added, as a wife, as a mother, I feel Rasheeda's pain. But Jasmine, too bold for me. She really thinks she can walk in and take over like that. By afternoon, fans gathered outside press studios, waiting for statements. Rasheeda posted a cryptic message on Instagram. Betrayal cuts deep, but truth always wins. Jasmine responded minutes later with her own post. You can't silence me. I'll always speak my truth. The internet went wild, dissecting every word, every emotion. Meanwhile, rumors spread that Kirk had been spotted alone at a hotel, his head in his hands, looking like a man who had lost everything. Whispers claimed lawyers were already involved, papers being drawn up, betrayals documented for the world to see. This was no longer just a fight between two women. It was a war, tearing through families, friendships, and an entire fan base. Atlanta was divided, lines drawn, alliances tested. And everyone knew this was only the beginning of the explosive fallout. The storm was far from over. And as night fell once again, the city braced for part 2 of the showdown that had already shaken the entire love and hip-hop universe to its core. The night after the explosive showdown, Atlanta was still trembling with the aftershocks of Rasheeda and Jasmine's face-off. Every gossip blog, every radio station, and every fan page was dissecting each word, each tear, and each scream. But inside the Frost household, the silence was louder than any headline. Rasheeda had locked herself in the bedroom, her bags half-packed, her heart torn between fury and despair. Kirk sat downstairs, his phone buzzing. Nan, stop with calls. He refused to answer his mind, replaying the confrontation again and again. Meanwhile, Jasmine was on live, flashing her smile, sipping wine as comments poured in from thousands of viewers. I told y'all she couldn't handle the truth, she said with smug satisfaction. They can call me messy, they can call me a homewrecker, but at the end of the day, Kirk knew where he wanted to be, and I'm not ashamed of it. Fans were split in the comments, half cheering her bravery, half dragging her for her arrogance. Some even accused her of chasing clout. Back at home, Rasheeda's phone buzzed with texts from friends begging her not to give Jasmine the satisfaction of walking away from everything she had built. But Rasheeda's tears wouldn't stop. She whispered to herself, how much more am I supposed to take? How many times can a heart break before it's gone completely? The following day, Kirk tried to apologize, his voice weak, his eyes hollow. Sheeda, I know I messed up, I know I said things I shouldn't have, but you gotta understand I was confused, I didn't mean half of it. Rasheeda's glare cut through him like fire. Confused? You had years to figure out what you wanted, Kirk. While I was out here defending our family, our name, you were out there spilling secrets to her. You gave her pieces of me that I never even knew you could give away. Kirk's lips trembled. I never stopped loving you. Love, Rasheeda's voice broke. You don't get to use that word with me anymore. Love doesn't humiliate me in front of the world. Love doesn't put me in the same room as the woman who tried to destroy everything I built. Love doesn't drag me through hell and expect me to keep smiling. Jasmine, meanwhile, wasn't done stirring the pot. She met up with friends at a flashy restaurant where paparazzi caught her laughing and saying this is just the beginning. If Rasheeda thinks I'm backing down, she'd better get ready because I got receipts. Whispers spread like wildfire that Jasmine had voice. Whispers spread like wildfire that Jasmine had voice. Recordings, screenshots, and even videos that could expose Kirk in ways no one was ready for. When word of this reached Rasheeda, her anger turned to steel. She looked at Kirk, her eyes blazing. You better hope she's lying, because if she has proof, if she has one thing that humiliates me or my children again, Kirk, it's over for good. Not just us, not just our marriage, your entire empire will crumble. The tension spread beyond their home. Candy invited Rasheeda over for dinner, trying to comfort her. Sis, you've held your head high for so long, but you don't have to do it alone anymore. We got your back. Tears rolled down Rasheeda's face as she whispered, but how do I keep fighting when the person I fought hardest for was the one fighting against me? While Rasheeda found support, Jasmine doubled down, posting a cryptic message. When a woman's fed up, she speaks. When a man's fed up, he leaves. I'm neither. I'm staying. The internet exploded with theories, fans speculating that Jasmine planned to move closer to Kirk again, or even demand public acknowledgement. Kirk found himself cornered, his reputation shredded, his family broken, and his name dragged through headlines once again. He tried to reach out to Jasmine, begging her to stay quiet, but she only laughed. Oh, now you want me to shut up? Where was that energy when you were telling me your deepest, darkest secrets? Nah, Kirk. You wanted me in your world. Now you gotta deal with me in it. The story escalated when paparazzi caught Jasmine outside a hotel, rumored to be the same one Kirk had been hiding in. Photos leaked online of her walking out in the early morning hours wearing a hoodie that fans swore looked like Kirk's. The speculation was instant and brutal. Oh my god, they still sneaking. Rasheeda deserves better. Kirk ain't never gonna change. SMH. When Rasheeda saw the photos, she smashed her phone against the wall, her screams echoing through the house. Kirk fell to his knees, begging her to listen. Please don't believe that it's not what it looks like, I swear. But Rasheeda's voice shook the walls. Everything looks like a lie with you, Kirk. And I'm done looking the other way. By the end of the week, fans flooded MTV's social media demanding to know if the Showdown would air in the next season. Insiders claimed producers were already planning to dedicate an entire arc to the scandal because the ratings would skyrocket. Atlanta was split into two, Camp's team, Rasheeda, and Team Jasmine, with Kirk left standing, alone, unwanted by both. Then came the bombshell no one expected. Jasmine hinted during an Instagram live that she wasn't the only woman Kirk had confided in. Let's just say I wasn't the only one he was whispering to at night, she teased, sending shockwaves through the fanbase. Speculation erupted, naming multiple women from Atlanta's social circles. Rasheeda heard the clip and her entire world tilted again. She sat in silence, her face pale, her heart heavy as she whispered to Candy, what if she's right? What if I've been fighting a war I already lost years ago? The cracks in the Frost family were no longer cracks, they were earthquakes tearing everything apart. And as fans watched breathlessly waiting for the next chapter, one thing was clear. This was no longer just a feud between two women. This was a reckoning years in the making, and no one knew who would survive the fallout. Under the blazing Atlanta Son, the fallout of the showdown had only just begun, but the city was already shaking from the aftershocks. The charity event had turned into a battlefield, and what happened there was now plastered across every gossip blog, every radio show, and every trending hashtag. People couldn't stop talking about how Rasheeda stormed in with fire in her eyes, how Jasmine threw daggers with every word, and how Kirk stood in the middle looking like a man watching his empire crumble before his eyes. Fans were screaming that they had never seen such raw chaos in the hip-hop world, and still everyone wanted more. Inside her boutique, Rasheeda was trying to keep her composure. But every customer, every employee, and even her closest friends could see the cracks in her armor. She arranged clothes on racks, but her hands shook and her eyes burned with unshed tears. When Candy walked in to check on her, she finally broke. "I can't keep doing this," Rasheeda whispered. "I held him down through every scandal, every betrayal, and he still gave pieces of himself to her. And now the whole world knows." Candy hugged her tightly, whispering back, "Sis, you don't need him to define you. You already built your empire. But don't let her win by breaking you down." Rasheeda nodded slowly, but the pain in her chest was unbearable. She already won. Candy. She got the one thing. "I never thought he'd give away my dignity." Meanwhile, Jasmine was riding high on the chaos. She had gone live again, pulling in thousands of viewers as she flaunted her confidence. She leaned close to the camera, her lips glossed, her eyes sharp. "Y'all keep calling me the villain, but I'm just telling the truth. Kirk was mine too. Whether y'all like it or not, that's facts. And if Rasheeda wanna keep pretending she's the queen, let her. But deep down she knows I got the crown jewels." The comments exploded with fire emojis and crying faces. Some fans called her bold, others called her delusional, but everyone stayed glued to the drama. The next twist came when paparazzi released a video of Kirk entering a hotel late at night, only hours before Jasmine was spotted leaving the same building in the morning. The internet erupted with accusations, memes, and ruthless hashtags dragging Kirk. "Not the same hotel again." One fan wrote, "Kirk got no shame, he really addicted to drama." Another commented, "Rasheeda deserves an award for endurance at this point." When Rasheeda saw the video, her heart shattered again. She locked herself in her room, refusing to answer Kirk's calls. Kirk knocked on the door, his voice cracking. "Sheeda, please, it's not what it looks like." From inside, she screamed, "It's always not what it looks like. When is it ever what it really is? Kirk, when?" Her sobs echoed through the walls, leaving Kirk on the other side with his head in his hands. Jasmine wasn't done twisting the knife. She posted a cryptic caption on Instagram. "If he lies to you, remember he told me the truth first." Atlanta went wild, dissecting the message. Blogs speculated that Jasmine had receipt screenshots, recordings maybe, even photos that could destroy Kirk's image once and for all. By the weekend, MTV producers were licking their lips. Insiders leaked that they were planning a special episode to cover the scandal because ratings would skyrocket. Cast members began choosing sides on social media. Carly Red posted a laughing emoji with the caption, "I told y'all." Yandi Smith wrote, "As a woman I feel for Rasheeda, but Jasmine really out here fearless." Even Scrappy chimed in with a cryptic, "When the past ain't buried, it comes back louder." Fans devoured every reaction, fueling the fire even more. Then came the most shocking revelation yet. A blogger released alleged text messages between Kirk and Jasmine dating back months. In them, Kirk supposedly confessed, feeling trapped in his marriage, admitting he sometimes wished he could start over fresh. One message read, "You understand me in ways she never did." The leak sent fans into a frenzy. Not Kirk saying, "Jasmine understands him more than Rasheeda." Oh my god. This man never gonna learn. Rasheeda sat in silence as Candy read the messages aloud, her tears falling freely. "He gave her words he never gave me," Rasheeda whispered. "He made her feel special while he made me feel invisible." Candy shook her head. "Girl, this ain't love, this is manipulation. He playing both sides and leaving you both broken." But Rasheeda's mind was already spinning with the thought that her entire marriage had been built on lies. Kirk tried to defend himself, going live to tell his side of the story. He looked broken, his voice heavy with desperation. "I made mistakes. I ain't perfect, but I never stopped loving my wife. People saying I chose Jasmine over Rasheeda, that's a lie. I was confused. I was weak, but I know who my real queen is." But the comments weren't kind. Fans dragged him for years of betrayal. "We heard this speech 1,000 times. Kirk, he crying for himself, not for Rasheeda. Too little too late. Himself, not for Rasheeda. Too little too late." While Kirk drowned in backlash, Jasmine doubled down again, releasing a video where she hinted she had more secrets to reveal. She leaned close to the camera, whispering, "Atlanta ain't ready for what I got next." Fans speculated she had proof of financial ties between her and Kirk, maybe hidden accounts or gifts he gave her in secret. Blogs even suggested she could expose business dealings that would damage not just Kirk but Rasheeda's brand too. Rasheeda's fear turned into fury. She called Kirk into their living room, her voice trembling with rage. "If she has one document, one photo, one receipt that ruins my business, Kirk, I swear to God, you'll regret the day you ever lied to me." Kirk swore on his life she doesn't have anything like that, Sheeda, trust me. But trust was gone, shattered like glass on the floor. The Frost children weren't spared either. Their son overheard classmates whispering about the scandal at school. Their daughter scrolled through TikTok seeing memes about her father's betrayal. The pain spread through the family like poison. Rasheeda collapsed into tears again, whispering they didn't deserve this. They didn't deserve to carry the weight of your mistakes. Kirk. The tension finally erupted into another face-off. When Jasmine showed up at the same restaurant, Rasheeda was dining in with friends. Witnesses say Rasheeda tried to keep calm, but Jasmine walked up bold as ever, her phone recording. "Smile for the camera, queen," Jasmine sneered. Rasheeda stood up, her hands shaking but her voice steady. "You're obsessed with me, Jasmine. Obsessed with tearing me down. But you'll never be me. Never." Jasmine laughed coldly. "I don't want to be you, Rasheeda. I already took what mattered most." Security had to step in, but the moment was already viral. The footage spread like wildfire, online fans screaming that this was the most dramatic confrontation in love and hip-hop history. Hashtags like #TeamRasheeda and #TeamJasmine trended for days, dividing the entire fanbase into two armies. By the end of the week, rumors swirled that divorce papers were being drafted. Insiders claimed Rasheeda had spoken with lawyers about protecting her businesses and assets from Kirk's scandals. At the same time, Jasmine teased she might be appearing on the next season as a full-time cast member, promising to tell her truth. Atlanta buzzed with speculation that this feud was far from over. That the face-off at the charity event was only Act 1 in a war that would reshape the entire scene. And through it all, Kirk sat alone in silence. His friends stopped answering his calls, his family turned cold, and even the fans who once defended him now dragged his name through the mud. One insider revealed he looks like a man who lost everything and has no one to blame but himself. As night fell once more, the city braced itself. Because if the first confrontation shook the room, the next round promised to set Atlanta on fire. Jasmine claimed she still had more bombs to drop. Rasheeda stood ready to fight for her dignity, and Kirk was hanging by a thread between the two women who defined his downfall. And everyone knew the story wasn't close to finished. The following morning, Atlanta woke up to chaos again, because Jasmine had finally done what everyone feared most. She leaked the first set of her so-called receipts. At exactly 9 a.m. her Instagram story flashed a screenshot of bank transfers. One in Kirk's name to an account allegedly belonging to her. The caption read, "When he said he was done, he meant it." Fans lost their minds within seconds. Comments poured in thousands at a time, accusing Kirk of secretly funding Jasmine while Rasheeda struggled to keep the family together. Hashtags like #KirkDirtyMoney and #Jasmine exposed flooded Twitter. Rasheeda was in her kitchen, sipping coffee when she saw the posts. Her hands went numb, the mug slipping from her grip and shattering across the floor. She whispered, "Dear God," as Candy rushed over to check on her. "Sis, this ain't just betrayal anymore, this is destruction," Candy said. "She's trying to ruin everything you worked for." Rasheeda wiped her tears, her jaw tightening. "She won't win. Not this time." Kirk walked in moments later, his phone buzzing non-stop, his face pale. "Sheeda, please listen to me," he begged. "That money wasn't what it looks like. It was just me trying to keep her quiet. I was protecting you." Rasheeda snapped. "Protecting me? By sneaking behind my back again? By giving her money while I was out here defending your name? You didn't protect me, Kirk, you betrayed me all over again." Outside fans gathered at her boutique chanting Team Rasheeda, holding posters and shouting support. But inside, Rasheeda's world was falling apart. She called her lawyer, her voice trembling but firm. "We need to talk about separating business accounts from Kirk immediately. If she keeps leaking this, my brand is finished." Jasmine, enjoying the fire she started, went live again. She leaned close to the camera, her eyes glinting with mischief. "That was just the beginning, y'all. You think Kirk only told me he was unhappy? Nah. He showed me, and I got more proof if they keep trying to play me." The comments were vicious. "Drop the rest, sis. She exposing Kirk like a Netflix doc. Rasheeda better lawyer up FR." Kirk's reputation nosedived. Radio hosts dragged him mercilessly. One said this man been cheating since flip phones and still ain't learned. Another added, "You gotta feel for Rasheeda. She the one holding the empire while he out here throwing it away for clout." Even fans who once defended him finally turned. Rasheeda stayed quiet on social media for days until she finally posted a black square with the words, "I deserve better." The post went viral instantly, drawing millions of likes and comments. Fans rallied behind her, flooding her boutique with orders as a show of support. But behind the scenes, she was breaking down, telling Kandi, "How do I walk away from decades of marriage? How do I explain this to my kids when the whole world already knows?" Kandi held her hand and said softly, "You don't owe anyone explanations anymore. You owe yourself peace." Things escalated further when paparazzi caught Jasmine outside a recording studio with none other than Carly Red. Rumors swirled that Jasmine was planning to record a diss track aimed directly at Rasheeda. Carly fueled the fire, posting a clip of them laughing together with the caption, "Truth always finds its way out." Atlanta fans went wild, some thrilled at the drama, others disgusted at how low things had gone. Meanwhile, Kirk tried desperately to win back Rasheeda. He showed up at her boutique unannounced, begging her in front of cameras. "I'll do whatever it takes, Sheeda. Counseling, public apology, whatever. Just don't leave me." Rasheeda's face was stone. "You should have thought about that before you gave her the bullets to shoot me with." She turned her back and walked inside, leaving Kirk outside humiliated as fans booed him. The next night, Jasmine dropped her biggest bomb yet. She released a recorded phone call allegedly between her and Kirk. His voice could be heard saying, "Rasheeda, don't understand me no more. With you, I feel alive." The audio spread like wildfire, played on radio shows and remixed on TikTok. Fans were in shock, some crying for Rasheeda, others calling Kirk a serial betrayer. Rasheeda listened to the audio in silence, tears streaming down her face. Her son knocked on her door, whispering, "Mom, please don't cry anymore." She pulled him close, promising through her sobs, "I'll protect us, baby, I promise." The family was fractured, the city was divided, and Kirk's legacy was in ruins. Jasmine strutted through Atlanta, acting like she had won, but deep down she knew she had made powerful enemies. Insiders whispered that MTV producers were already planning a dramatic reunion episode, where all three would be forced to sit together on stage. Fans speculated that it would be the most explosive moment in reality TV history. As days passed, the pressure mounted. Rasheeda finally agreed to do an exclusive interview. Sitting across from the host, her voice steady but her eyes red, she said, "I stayed too long in something that was breaking me. I believed love could fix it, but sometimes love ain't enough. I deserve better. My kids deserve better. And that's what I'm choosing now." The audience clapped through tears, fans online declaring it her most powerful moment yet. But Jasmine wasn't finished. She responded with her own interview, claiming, "Rasheeda painting me as the villain, but Kirk made his own choices. He came to me. He told me his truth. I didn't steal nothing. I just took what he offered." Her words fueled another storm of debates across the internet. The final straw came when Kirk was spotted alone at a bar, drinking heavily, mumbling to friends that he had lost everything. Insiders said he looked like a man who aged 10 years overnight. One eyewitness claimed he kept saying, "I should have picked my wife," over and over. Atlanta was left shaken, fans divided, and the Frost family's future uncertain. One thing was clear, this was not the end. It was only the beginning of a war that would redefine love and hip-hop forever. The MTV reunion stage was lit up brighter than ever before, cameras flashing, fans screaming outside the studio gates, the air electric with anticipation. Inside, every seat was filled with cast members, producers whispering instructions, and an audience buzzing because they all knew this would not be an ordinary reunion. This was the one where Rasheeda and Jasmine would be face to face again, but this time on national television, with Kirk forced into the hot seat between them. The host walked out, smiling nervously because even she could feel the tension bleeding through the walls. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began. "Tonight we're diving into the most explosive story this show has ever seen. Rasheeda, Jasmine, Kirk, the truth, the lies, the receipts. It all comes out here." The crowd erupted with cheers, some chanting Team Rasheeda, others daring to yell Team Jasmine. Rasheeda walked out first, dressed in bold red, her chin high, every step echoing her strength. The crowd roared for her, some even standing with posters reading "Queen Sheeda Forever." Jasmine came next, smirking in sleek black, unapologetic, soaking in the booze and cheers with equal satisfaction. Kirk shuffled out last, looking worn down, guilt painted across his face, his every step dragging like he was walking into his own trial. The host wasted no time. Rasheeda, Jasmine, Kirk, the world saw the charity event blow up. Fans saw the receipts. The question now is, where do we even begin? Rasheeda's voice was calm, but icy. "We begin with the truth. I stood by a man for years who betrayed me more times than I can count. And I've had to sit back while this woman paraded around, bragging about being part of the destruction. I'm here tonight not to play games but to reclaim my peace." The crowd cheered, chanting her name. Jasmine leaned forward, smirking. Oh please, stop acting like I held a gun to Kirk's head. He came to me. He wanted me. I didn't steal him, Rasheeda. He offered himself. If you got a problem, it's with him, not me. Boos erupted from the audience, but Jasmine held her head high. You can hate me, but the truth don't change. Kirk tried to interject, his voice low. Jasmine, enough. Rasheeda, I'm sorry. Sorry. Rasheeda snapped, her voice shaking. You sorry every year, Kirk. You sorry in 2013. You sorry in 2017. You sorry in 2020. And here we are again. Sorry doesn't fix broken trust. Sorry doesn't heal my children. Sorry doesn't erase the receipts she's leaking to the world. The host leaned in. So Jasmine, what about these receipts? Were they real, or was this just clout chasing? Jasmine smirked again. Every single one was real. And don't get it twisted, I didn't release them to ruin her. I released them to protect me. Because for years I was painted as the liar, the side chick, the villain. Well, guess what? Villains tell the truth too. And I wasn't gonna let Kirk's lies bury me. The crowd gasped. Rasheeda's fists clenched on her lap. Protect yourself. By humiliating me. By dragging my children through the mud. You call that protection? Jasmine, you've been chasing relevance on my pain for years. You don't care about truth, you care about headlines. But let me tell you something, headlines fade. My legacy doesn't. The audience exploded in applause, standing for Rasheeda. Jasmine's smirk wavered, but she fired back. Legacy? Your legacy is staying with a man who humiliated you over and over. That's not strength. That's desperation. Rasheeda's eyes glistened, but her voice grew sharper. No, Jasmine. Desperation is building your whole identity around being someone else's mistake. The room went silent. The burn so sharp, even the host's jaw dropped. Kirk sat with his head in his hands, muttering, Lord, please end this. But it didn't end. A producer suddenly handed the host a phone. She glanced at it, eyes wide. Ladies and gentlemen, we've just received breaking footage. The big screen lit up behind them, showing a video clip of Kirk allegedly sneaking into Jasmine's apartment only weeks before the charity event. The audience screamed. Rasheeda covered her mouth in shock. Jasmine looked caught off guard for the first time. Kirk stuttered, that's old footage. But no one believed him. The stage erupted in chaos. Audience members shouted. Some screamed, kick him out. Others yelled, divorce him now. Rasheeda stood, tears spilling, shouting over the noise. You humiliated me again, Kirk. After everything. After all this. Jasmine looked stunned, whispering, I didn't leak that. That wasn't me. The host called for security to calm the crowd as the stage descended into chaos. Backstage, Rasheeda collapsed into Candy's arms, sobbing, he'll never change. I wasted half my life on a man who never loved me enough. Jasmine sat alone in her dressing room, her smirk gone, her hands trembling. Kirk sat in a dark corner, muttering to himself, how did I lose it all? By the time the episode aired, fans declared it the most explosive reunion in love and hip-hop history. Blogs called it the night the Frost Empire fell. Memes flooded the internet, dragging Kirk, crowning Rasheeda as a queen, and mocking Jasmine as forever the villain. Atlanta itself seemed split down the middle, the drama dominating every conversation. And yet, the story still wasn't over. Insiders whispered that Jasmine had even more footage she was saving. Rasheeda was meeting with divorce attorneys, and Kirk's businesses were collapsing as sponsors pulled out. One producer summed it up best. This isn't just TV drama anymore, it's real life unraveling in front of millions. And no one knows how it will end. The city of Atlanta had never witnessed such a collapse of trust and explosion of scandal at the same time. Days after the reunion aired, the streets buzzed with every detail, fans replaying clips on loop, gossip blogs dissecting each word, radio hosts dragging Kirk, and hashtags still trending worldwide. What was once just love and hip-hop entertainment had bled into the real lives of everyone involved. Rasheeda, Jasmine, and Kirk had become the centerpiece of a public trial judged by millions. Rasheeda retreated into silence, hiding away in her boutique offices, late at night when no one was watching. She stared at old photos of her and Kirk smiling together, their children small, their future bright. Before all of this broke them, her chest tightened as she whispered, how did we get here? Her phone buzzed non-stop, supportive messages from fans, angry demands from sponsors, endless notifications. She ignored them all. She was battling with herself. Between the woman who wanted to walk away and the wife who had spent decades fighting for what she built. Meanwhile, Jasmine lived boldly, refusing to disappear. She went live again, reclining on her couch, her makeup flawless. Everybody calling me the villain, she purred. But I'm not going nowhere. Y'all can scream Team Rasheeda all you want, but facts don't lie. Kirk wanted me. Kirk came to me. And if I wanted to, I could burn his whole empire down with what I know." She smiled, a dangerous kind of smile. As thousands of fans begged her in the comments to drop the so-called bombshells she was hinting at. Back in his lonely condo, Kirk sat in the dark drinking, scrolling through comments, dragging his name to filth. He muttered, "They don't know me, they don't know the truth." But he knew they did know. The receipts, the audio, the footage, all of it had painted him as the betrayer he could no longer hide from. Rumors swirled that Jasmine had even more recordings. Insiders whispered that she possessed video clips of late-night conversations where Kirk confessed fears about his finances. Confessions about lies he told, not just to Rasheeda but to business partners. The thought of those leaks terrified Kirk because it wasn't just his marriage at stake, it was money. Businesses, his entire reputation. Rasheeda finally broke her silence when she sat down for an exclusive interview on a primetime talk show. Her voice cracked, but her eyes glistened with steel. "I've endured humiliation for too long." Eyes glistened with steel. "I've endured humiliation for too long. I've stayed silent while the world laughed at me. But I'm done. I'm choosing myself. I'm choosing my children. I'm choosing peace." The crowd applauded, some wiping tears. Clips of her speech spread across the internet instantly, with fans praising her strength. Jasmine, of course, fired back on her own platform, claiming she acting like I destroyed her life, when really it was Kirk's choices. "I didn't break her marriage, he did. And if she was really that strong, she would have left a long time ago." Her words cut deep but also revealed her desperation to hold on to the narrative. Things reached a fever pitch when Jasmine announced she had been approached to write a tell-all book. "Everything y'all think you know ain't even half the story," she teased in an Instagram post. "The real truth is gonna shock the world." Publishers lined up with offers while fans speculated what secrets she could possibly spill that hadn't already been dragged into the light. Rasheeda, upon hearing this, snapped during a meeting with her lawyer. Slamming her fist against the table, she cried, "If she prints one word that drags my children into this, I will destroy her. This is not just gossip anymore, it's war." Her lawyer nodded gravely, warning her that defamation suits were an option, but might only feed the headlines further. Meanwhile, Kirk grew more isolated. His kids refused to speak with him. His phone calls went unanswered. And producers debated whether to even keep him on the show. One insider leaked that execs were considering a spin-off centered entirely on Rasheeda's journey without him because fans were overwhelmingly on her side. Then came the night that changed everything again. Jasmine leaked a final piece of footage, a hidden camera recording of a late-night argument between her and Kirk. In the clip, Kirk could be heard yelling, "If Rasheeda ever finds out what I really did, I'm finished." The internet erupted. What did he mean? What else had he done? Speculation exploded. Some fans claimed it was about money, others about another woman, others even darker. The mystery fueled the storm further, leaving Kirk cornered and terrified. Rasheeda watched the clip in silence, her face pale. She finally whispered, "He's still hiding things." Even now, her heartbreak turned to fire. She called her team together and declared, "I'm filing. I'm done waiting for truth from a liar. This ends now." Her team applauded her decision, knowing it would set the tone not just for her family but for every woman who had ever been betrayed publicly. The divorce filing made headlines the next morning. Rasheeda Frost finally ends marriage after explosive showdown. Fans flooded social media with support, calling her a role model for walking away. Jasmine posted a single emoji in response, a crown claiming victory. But fans dragged her mercilessly in the comments, telling her she would never replace what Rasheeda had built. Kirk was left alone, his empire collapsing around him. Businesses closed, sponsors dropped him, and even friends distanced themselves. He sat in his empty condo staring at old photos of his family, whispering, "I lost it all because I couldn't stop lying." The season finale of Love and Hip Hop aired weeks later, featuring the fallout in dramatic fashion. Rasheeda's final confessional was powerful, her voice trembling but firm. "I may have lost a marriage, but I found myself again. And that's something no one can take from me." Fans erupted with love, her segment trending worldwide. Jasmine's final confessional was unapologetic. "They can call me what they want, but I lived my truth. I don't regret it." Her words were met with boos online, fans calling her the ultimate villain of the series. Kirk's final confessional was quiet, broken. "I destroyed the one person who ever truly loved me. I don't know if I'll ever forgive myself." The screen faded to black, leaving fans divided, emotional, and hungry for the next chapter. But the real story was only beginning. Insiders leaked that Jasmine's book deal was moving forward. Rasheeda was preparing a brand new business venture without Kirk. And Kirk himself had checked into therapy after rumors of a breakdown. Atlanta buzzed with speculation, the entire city watching as the Frost family saga continued to unravel. And as the credits rolled, fans everywhere whispered the same thing. This wasn't the end. This was the rebirth of Rasheeda, the fall of Kirk, and the dangerous rise of Jasmine. The face-off had turned into a full-blown war, and nobody knew who would survive the next round. Weeks later, Atlanta once again found itself at the center of headlines. Because Jasmine finally released her long-teased tell-all. The book dropped at midnight under the title, Truth Hurts, My Life with Kirk Frost. And by sunrise, it was already the #1 trending topic across social media. Fans lined up outside bookstores, blogs crashed from traffic, and every page was screenshotted and shared online. The opening chapters painted Jasmine not as the villain the world saw, but as a woman who claimed she was manipulated, seduced, and then abandoned. He told me I was different, she wrote. He told me I was freedom when his life felt like a cage. He promised me things that never came true. The words hit hard, but as the chapters unfolded, the tone shifted from heartbreak to outright vengeance. Jasmine described alleged late-night confessions from Kirk's secret accounts, shady business deals, even stories of nights out with women no one had ever connected to him before. Atlanta exploded. Radio hosts read excerpts on air. Fans debated every word. And MTV released a statement hinting at a potential spin-off series based on the scandal. Love and hip-hop has never seen drama like this, the statement teased, fueling speculation that the Frost saga was far from finished. Rasheeda sat in her boutique reading pages of the book, her face pale. Every sentence felt like another knife, not because she believed Jasmine, but because the humiliation was now bound and sold for the world to consume. She whispered to Candy, "She's cashing checks off my pain." Candy shook her head. "And that's exactly why you gotta flip this. Don't let her profit alone. Tell your side, sis. The world's waiting to hear it." Meanwhile, Kirk spiraled further. Fans posted videos of him wandering out of a bar late at night, looking dazed, muttering, "She's lying. She's lying." But the problem was, no one cared if he denied it. His voice no longer carried weight. The receipts Jasmine included in the book screenshots, blurred but obvious, were enough to convince millions. Kirk had become the villain in everyone's eyes. And yet, Jasmine wasn't done. During her book tour, she dropped another bombshell. In a televised interview, she claimed, "Rasheeda knew more than she lets on. She ain't as innocent as she pretends." The interviewer gasped, the audience murmured, and Jasmine smirked. "You think a woman like that didn't know what her husband was doing? She played the victim because it sells." The backlash was immediate. Fans flooded social media defending Rasheeda, dragging Jasmine for crossing another line. "Nah sis, you lost us with that. Rasheeda been holding the family down. Don't twist it." But the damage was done. The feud reignited, bigger than ever. Rasheeda, fueled by fury, went live that night. Her eyes were red, her voice trembling but fierce. "I've kept quiet too long. But since Jasmine wants to use my name to sell books, let me say this loud and clear. I built my life brick by brick. I fought for my family, even when it broke me. But what I won't do is let someone profit off my pain without hearing my truth." Fans went wild in the comments, begging her to drop her own memoir. Behind the scenes, MTV producers were already in talks. Whispers spread of a special season centered entirely around Rasheeda reclaiming her life after the divorce. With Jasmine cast as her rival, the tension promised to be explosive. Insiders hinted the two women might even be forced into joint appearances, with contracts offering six-figure payouts for confrontations guaranteed to trend worldwide. The city buzzed with anticipation again, but the real shock came when a new piece of footage surfaced. A leaked video showed Kirk crying in a hotel lobby, pleading with a mystery woman on the phone, "Please don't tell Rasheeda. Please." The internet went into meltdown. Who was the woman? Was Jasmine holding back yet another twist? Or was this someone new entirely? Fans speculated endlessly. Memes flew. Hashtags like #anotherwoman and #Kirk never learned trended. Atlanta was divided once again. Rasheeda, upon seeing the video, simply shook her head. "He'll never stop. And I'll never go back." Jasmine posted a single laughing emoji, and Kirk remained silent. But silence was not enough. Producers announced a live televised special where Rasheeda, Jasmine, and Kirk would appear together for one final confrontation. The tagline read, "The truth will finally be exposed." Fans immediately dubbed it the Showdown of the century, with ticket prices skyrocketing and social media counting down the days. The stage was set once. The stage was set once. Again, Rasheeda was ready to reclaim her dignity. Jasmine was ready to guard her spotlight. And Kirk was a man drowning in the ruins of his own making. And Atlanta was waiting, hungry for blood, knowing that whatever happened next would rewrite the legacy of everyone involved. Weeks later, Atlanta once again found itself at the center of headlines, because Jasmine finally released her long-teased tell-all. The book dropped at midnight under the title, Truth Hurts: My Life with Kirk Frost. And by sunrise, it was already the #1 trending topic across social media. Fans lined up outside bookstores, blogs crashed from traffic, and every page was screenshotted and shared online. The opening chapters painted Jasmine not as the villain the world saw, but as a woman who claimed she was manipulated, seduced, and then abandoned. He told me I was different, she wrote. He told me I was freedom when his life felt like a cage. He promised me things that never came true. The words hit hard, but as the chapters unfolded, the tone shifted from heartbreak to outright vengeance. Jasmine described alleged late-night confessions from Kirk's secret accounts, shady business deals, even stories of nights out with women no one had ever connected to him before. Atlanta exploded. Radio hosts read excerpts on air. Fans debated every word. And MTV released a statement hinting at a potential spin-off series based on the scandal. Love and hip-hop has never seen drama like this, the statement teased, fueling speculation that the Frost saga was far from finished. Rasheeda sat in her boutique reading pages of the book, her face pale. Every sentence felt like another knife, not because she believed Jasmine, but because the humiliation was now bound and sold for the world to consume. She whispered to Candy, "She's cashing checks off my pain." Candy shook her head. "And that's exactly why you gotta flip this. Don't let her profit alone. Tell your side, sis. The world's waiting to hear it." Meanwhile, Kirk spiraled further. Fans posted videos of him wandering out of a bar late at night, looking dazed, muttering, "She's lying, she's lying." But the problem was, no one cared if he denied it. His voice no longer carried weight. The receipts Jasmine included in the book screenshots, blurred but obvious, were enough to convince millions. Kirk had become the villain in everyone's eyes. And yet, Jasmine wasn't done. During her book tour, she dropped another bombshell. In a televised interview, she claimed, "Rasheeda knew more than she lets on. She ain't as innocent as she pretends." The interviewer gasped, the audience murmured, and Jasmine smirked. "You think a woman like that didn't know what her husband was doing? She played the victim because it sells." The backlash was immediate. Fans flooded social media defending Rasheeda, dragging Jasmine for crossing another line. "Nah sis, you lost us with that. Rasheeda been holding the family down. Don't twist it." But the damage was done. The feud reignited, bigger than ever. Rasheeda, fueled by fury, went live that night. Her eyes were red, her voice trembling but fierce. "I've kept quiet too long, but since Jasmine wants to use my name to sell books, let me say this loud and clear. I built my life, brick by brick. I fought for my family, even when it broke me. But what I won't do is let someone profit off my pain without hearing my truth." Fans went wild in the comments, begging her to drop her own memoir. Behind the scenes, MTV producers were already in talks. Whispers spread of a special season centered entirely around Rasheeda reclaiming her life after the divorce. With Jasmine cast as her rival, the tension promised to be explosive. Insiders hinted the two women might even be forced into joint appearances, with contracts offering six-figure payouts for confrontations guaranteed to trend worldwide. The city buzzed with anticipation again, but the real shock came when a new piece of footage surfaced. A leaked video showed Kirk crying in a hotel lobby, pleading with a mystery woman on the phone. "Please don't tell Rasheeda. Please." The internet went into meltdown. Who was the woman? Was Jasmine holding back yet another twist? Or was this someone new entirely? Fans speculated endlessly. Memes flew. Hashtags like #anotherwoman and #KirkNeverLearned trended. Atlanta was divided once again. Rasheeda, upon seeing the video, simply shook her head. "He'll never stop. And I'll never go back." Jasmine posted a single laughing emoji and Kirk remained silent. But silence was not enough. Producers announced a live televised special where Rasheeda, Jasmine, and Kirk would appear together for one final confrontation. The tagline read, "The truth will finally be exposed." Fans immediately dubbed it the Showdown of the century. With ticket prices skyrocketing and social media counting down the days, the stage was set once again. Rasheeda was ready to reclaim her dignity. Jasmine was ready to guard her spotlight. And Kirk was a man drowning in the ruins of his own making. And Atlanta was waiting, hungry for blood, knowing that whatever happened next would rewrite the legacy of everyone involved. The night of the live televised special arrived, and Atlanta felt like it was standing still. Every street corner, every bar, every living room in the city was tuned in because this wasn't just another reunion or gossip session. This was marketed as the final showdown. The night when the Frost saga would reach its boiling point. Helicopters hovered over the studio. Paparazzi lined the sidewalks, and fans screamed as limousines pulled up. You could feel the electricity in the air, a mix of anticipation and dread. As if the entire city knew history was about to be made. Rasheeda stepped out first, dressed in white from head to toe, her hair pulled back in sleek perfection, her face glowing not with joy but with determination. She had chosen white deliberately, to symbolize a fresh start, a rebirth, a cleansing of everything she had endured. Fans roared when they saw her, chanting her name. Some even crying as they waved posters that read Queen Forever and Team Rasheeda Till I Die. She didn't smile. She simply raised her chin and walked inside, her silence louder than any speech. Minutes later, Jasmine arrived, dressed in black leather, hair wild, lips painted blood red. She looked like the embodiment of defiance. Her smirk never wavered as the crowd erupted in a storm of boos and cheers. She blew kisses to the cameras, feeding on the chaos, daring anyone to knock her crown off. "I'm here," she mouthed into the cameras. "Let's play." Kirk arrived last, slouched in the back seat of a black SUV, his face drawn, his eyes heavy. He looked like a man walking toward execution. No cheers greeted him, only silence and scattered boos. Fans held up signs that read "Shame" and "You lost it all." When he stepped onto the pavement, his shoulders hunched, he barely lifted his head. Inside the studio, the stage had been set like a courtroom. 3 chairs sat under blazing lights, the host's desk off to the side, cameras circling like vultures. The live audience buzzed with excitement, phones ready to capture every second. The host began, her voice calm but charged. "Tonight we are not here for rumors. We are here for answers. The world has watched this story unfold, the scandals, the receipts, the heartbreak. But tonight, face to face, it's time to speak the truth." Rasheeda sat stiff, hands clasped tightly in her lap, her eyes locked forward. Jasmine lounged in her chair, one leg crossed over the other, her smirk daring anyone to challenge her. Kirk sat in the middle, shoulders slumped, his gaze on the floor. The host turned to Rasheeda. "You've stayed silent since the divorce filing. What do you want to say tonight?" Rasheeda's voice was calm, almost too calm. "I came here tonight to close a chapter. For years, I've carried the weight of humiliation, the whispers, the jokes, the receipts splashed across the internet. I carried it with grace because I thought protecting my family was worth my silence. But I realize now, silence only fed the lies. So tonight, I'm done being silent. Tonight, I speak my truth." The crowd erupted in applause. Chants of "Sheeda," filling erupted in applause. Chants of "Sheeda," filling the room. Jasmine rolled her eyes dramatically, drawing boos. The host shifted to Jasmine. "You've been painted as the villain in this story. How do you respond?" Jasmine leaned into the mic, her smirk widening. "Villain? No, I'm the one who told the truth when nobody wanted to hear it. I didn't destroy a marriage, Kirk did. I didn't lie to her, he did. I didn't create those receipts, he did. I'm just the one who refused to stay quiet. So if telling the truth makes me the villain, then fine, I'll wear that crown." The audience erupted with gasps and boos. Rasheeda's jaw clenched, her knuckles white. She finally turned to Jasmine, her voice low but sharp. "You talk about truth like it's some badge of honor, but truth without compassion is cruelty. You didn't tell your truth to heal, you told it to hurt. You wanted to break me because deep down you envied me. You wanted my life, my family, my name. But the truth is, Jasmine, you'll never be me." The crowd roared, leaping to their feet. Jasmine's smirk faltered, but only for a moment. She snapped back. "You right. I'll never be you. I'll never be the woman who stays with a man who humiliates her over and over. You call it strength, I call it weakness. I took the pieces he gave me and made myself seen. You took the crumbs and called it a feast." Rasheeda's eyes glistened with unshed tears, but her voice grew stronger. "I stayed because I believed in love. I stayed because I wanted my kids to have both parents. I stayed because I thought he'd change, but I'm not ashamed of fighting for my family. The only shame here belongs to the people who tried to destroy it." Kirk finally lifted his head, his voice trembling. "Stop it, both of you. This ain't about who's stronger or weaker. It's about me messing up. I was selfish. I lied. I wanted to have it all and ended up losing everything. I hurt both of you, and I hurt my kids most of all. I can't take it back, but I can admit I was wrong." The crowd booed, unimpressed. Fans shouted, "Too late, and we don't believe you." Kirk's eyes filled with tears, his voice cracking. I know it's too late, but I had to say it." Then came the moment no one saw coming. The host held up a tablet. "We've received something moments before we went live. Jasmine, it appears another recording has surfaced, one that you didn't release." Jasmine's eyes widened, her smirk gone. "What recording?" The screen behind them lit up. A video played of Jasmine in a private conversation with a friend, saying, Of course, I leaked it. The more they drag me, the more famous I get. I don't even care about Kirk no more. It's about the spotlight now." The crowd exploded in shock. Boos raining down. Rasheeda's mouth fell open. Tears streaming down her face, not of pain this time, but vindication. Jasmine's face drained of color, her bravado crumbling. "That's out of context," she screamed. "That's not what I meant." But the damage was done. The audience jeered, chanting "Liar, liar." Rasheeda rose to her feet, her voice trembling but powerful. "You see, this was never about truth. It was about clout, about attention. You used my pain as currency. And now the mask is off." The host struggled to calm the crowd, but the energy was uncontrollable. Jasmine shouted over the noise, "Y'all don't know the whole story. He wanted me to—" But no one listened. Her words drowned under the thunder of boos. Kirk slumped back in his chair, whispering, "Lord have mercy." Rasheeda walked off the stage to thunderous applause, the crowd chanting her name. Jasmine sat alone, her smirk gone, her eyes wild, while Kirk sat broken, silent, and forgotten. Outside the studio, the city erupted, horns honking, fans cheering, blogs uploading clips instantly. Headlines screamed Rasheeda vindicated and Jasmine exposed at last. The footage went viral worldwide, cementing the night as one of the most shocking in reality TV history. For Rasheeda, it was the beginning of a new era. For Jasmine, it was the beginning of the end. For Kirk, it was the reminder of what happens when lies finally collapse under their own weight. And for Atlanta, it was the night the Frost saga became legend. The story everyone swore they would never forget. And now that the dust has finally settled, and the cameras have stopped rolling, we are left with one undeniable truth. This story is far from finished. What we witnessed tonight wasn't just another reality TV fight. It was the unraveling of years of lies, betrayal, pain, and survival. Rasheeda walked away from that stage, not broken but reborn, showing the world that dignity and strength will always outshine scandal. Jasmine, exposed for chasing clout, will have to face the reality that fame built on another woman's suffering never lasts. And Kirk's silence, shattered and forgotten, embodies the cautionary tale of a man who wanted it all and ended up with nothing. But here's the thing: what happens next is the question on everyone's lips. Will Rasheeda rebuild her empire even stronger, becoming the icon fans believe she is destined to be? Will Jasmine find redemption or keep spiraling deeper into controversy? Will Kirk ever recover from the mess he created? Or is this the final chapter in his public downfall? Emotions ran high, families were left divided, and fans are still picking sides. This isn't just a storyline, it's a saga that shook an entire city and carved its place in the culture of reality television forever. And that's where you come in. I want to hear what you think, because your voice matters in this conversation. Are you Team Rasheeda, standing tall for loyalty, strength, and dignity? Are you Team Jasmine, claiming the right to speak your truth no matter the cost? Or do you think Kirk is the real villain here, the one who played both sides until his empire collapsed? Drop your thoughts in the comments right now and don't hold back. Let's see where the fans truly stand. Make sure you hit that like button if you were glued to every second of this drama. Smash subscribe so you never miss another update. And turn on notifications, because trust me, the next chapter in this saga is coming, and you don't want to miss it. Share this video with your friends, with your crew, with anyone who has ever debated Team Rasheeda versus Team Jasmine, because this is the conversation everyone is having right now. This was explosive, this was raw, and this was only the beginning. So join the debate, let your voice be heard, and remember, on this channel, the drama never stops. On this channel, the drama never stops.